You ready? You ready? You ready? You ready? You ready? We're ready this time. We'll talk about
I'm not ready. Put me back. Put me back.
I'm not done.
I'm not done.
All right. Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of the Outsider Circle podcast.
As always,
Yeah.
I'm your host, Vin.
And I'm your host, Leo.
And today we are unfortunately not joined by Brian. He is a student. He does have student things to stewed.
Yeah.
So tonight, instead, we are joined by a special guest, the ever illustrious symbol of our nation, Captain America.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Captain America, for joining us. I'm so glad you were able to show up.
Yeah.
I hope you find it comfortable on top of our lamp.
Yeah, and any words before we begin this show?
Fantastic.
Brilliant. All right,
Yeah,
so
the symbol of America right there, everybody. So
100%. Not the symbol of our hopes and dreams, though. That's Iron Man. And why is that Iron Man? Because Iron Man kicked off the MCU. And what's the MCU? Let's find out.
Yes. So we're here to talk about MCU, which as is concluding right now, as
the Marvel
we speak.
Cinematic Universe.
Yes.
For those who are not in the know.
Yes. Also, for anybody worried, we will not be discussing Endgame really at all in this episode. We are mostly going to be covering the greater Marvel Cinematic Universe as a whole, its impact, what is done, and kind of general feelings about this.
Yeah, like how has it changed movie making? How much has it changed the way that movies make money? How much has it changed the way we think about summer blockbusters? Mm-hmm. There's a lot to go into here.
They've accomplished a lot in the last 11 years that they've been making these movies.
Yeah, and you know what's remarkable? This is something that I found so strange in all of the research that we were doing online, is that there's actually just no content about the MCU on the internet.
None.
So we feel like
weird.
We should be the brave, bold internet pioneers who deliver this important content to the people.
That's kind of what we try to do. We try to bring differing ideas to you,
fresh, outside takes.
Yeah.
On stuff that you want to be on the inner circle for.
Yes, exactly.
That's our tagline.
So once again,
you're welcome.
Yeah. So let's just kind of run through it. Let's just run through everything as quickly as possible. So we're first going to run through my favorite thing to talk about: the money. Yeah. So over the 11 years that Marvel's been making these movies, they have made a lot. I didn't catch the exact number, but I do have
more than the collective GDP of several nations.
Yes, there are many nations that these movies have made more money than.
Yeah,
which is alarming.
Some individual movies too.
Yeah. So we'll start with phase one. I'll just run through them really quickly: their budget and then their gross return.
Yeah, and we're going to start with 2008. Iron Man. So Iron Man, 2008, $140 million budget. Return, $585 million. Instantly a success.
Runaway success.
Took off for the whole universe. Convinced Marvel that there was money to be made in these movies.
Next movie, Incredible Hulk, which was a part of the original two cinematic movies that they were going to use to jump off their universe. $150 million budget, return only $263. One of the only two movies that would not conventionally be considered a successful movie,
right,
as part of any of the Marvel cinematic
and
movies.
definitely not a success in considering the grand scheme of the Marvel movies to come.
Yeah. Edward Norton was playing the Hulk at this time, and as you know, now it is Mark Ruffalo since the Avengers.
And because Ed Norton was playing his version of the Hulk and not a real Hulk.
Yeah. Although I did enjoy his version of the Hulk. I think that his Bruce Banner was properly scared and timid and fearful of not only the world but himself. And I think that's the kind of thing that should have been experienced by somebody who became the Hulk.
I think it was one of the rare instances in Marvel where they went a little bit too realistic when they were adapting the source material, and instead of just making it when the Hulk is angry, he turns into the Hulk. They made it when his blood pressure, when his heart rate got too excited, he would Hulk out, which meant, and they addressed this in the movie, that he could not get sexually excited.
Yeah, that's very unfortunate.
Exactly.
So, next movie, Iron Man 2, $200 million budget, return of $623 million. Cementing,
again, that Iron Man is a flagship for this series.
Yes. Next is Thor, with a $150 million budget, having a return of $444 million. Pretty good success.
I will also say that Hulk was the first of the movies that really hinted at the universe. Because in the end of Hulk, there was an end credit scene where Robert Downey Jr. as Tony Stark shows up to try and recruit him for the Avengers Initiative.
Yeah. and it kind of worked out in the end.
Yeah.
And last, oh no, not last. So next we have Captain America, which at its highest end of its budget reported $216 million, returning only
Did you skip
300.
Thor?
No, we just went through. So we just talked about Thor. You went to the Hulk afterwards.
Oh, my bad.
But that whole Thor made $444 million. But Captain America, its upper end of its budget I've seen as $216 million. Its return only $370 million. The other movie that was not the conventional success. And once again, the conventional success rate is double a movie's production budget is required to be successful.
I wonder if there was some of that tied into the fear of American jingoism. So I feel like we were pretty tired out by American propaganda at that point. It was 10 years after 9/11 almost.
Yeah, I don't know. That's a good question. They definitely they try to play against all of that. Like they try to play much further into the all
Nazis.
Yeah, the Nazis, World War II, and just kind of how good Captain America was in his heart.
We might have been tired of that though. Maybe that has. Well, we can explore that at some other point.
And lastly, a part of Phase 1, Avengers.
The culmination point of Phase 1.
Yes.
This is 4 years of movie making, 6 films, all tied into one knot.
$220 million budget, return $1.5 billion.
That is an absolutely insane amount of money.
It is ridiculous. It is so much money.
Relatively certain that Ireland doesn't make that much money.
I don't know about that, but
I mean, that's probably not true, but it's a lot of money.
And in total, Phase 1 cost Marvel at this point still. And some
no, because Marvel released Iron Man.
Yes.
That was 2008. They were acquired by Disney in 2009.
Yeah.
I think that maybe they got the first 2 movies out. Maybe the Ed Norton movie was also Marvel.
Yes.
But 2009, Disney acquired Marvel because they obviously saw the success of Iron Man. They were like, we obviously have to capitalize.
Yeah. And we can get into that in just one moment, just kind of the finer details of how the cinematic universe got started. But in the end, it cost them basically a little under $1.1 billion and returned them $3.8 billion. So many monies are being made off of this movie.
They tripled their money, almost quadrupled it.
Yeah. And as I was going to say, so when Marvel decided that they wanted to make this cinematic universe, they were kind of pigeonholed in a little bit in a couple of places when they had started to figure it out. A name you probably have heard around a lot is this man Kevin Feige. He is he's kind of been like the mastermind behind the general cinematic universe from the beginning. He used to work for Marvel, now he works for Disney, but he's basically always been a part of the cinematic team and the brain trust of it. And Marvel had decided, being very close to bankruptcy, to take what is essentially a large credit card from Merrill Lynch, which is like a banking company. It's called revolving
credit facility.
Yeah, revolving credit facility. So essentially, they got themselves a $525 million credit line from Merrill Lynch.
Well, not even that. They got themselves an open-ended credit line. They think they've spent $525.
So yeah, so they got themselves an open credit line, spent $525 million of that credit line, and what they were putting up as collateral was the film rights for every Marvel character that they still had. And at this point, it was basically everything except for the Fantastic Four universe, the X-Men and Mutant universe, and the Spider-Man universe.
Well, they're all the same universe, but yeah, those characters.
Yeah.
They were made different universes because different studios own them.
Well, no, it's like universes and with the characters tied to it. So, for example, the X-Men and Mutants, every
all of the X-Men and all of the characters from the X-Men mainline comics.
Yeah, and anything that is a mutant.
Right.
Yeah. I don't know what the specifications were for Fantastic Four or for Spider-Man.
I think it was Fantastic Four was like all of their core characters, like Doctor Doom. The Fantastic Four,
I think that's why they had the scroll problem with the Avengers. They couldn't have the scrolls in the Avengers because they were part of the Fantastic Four universe.
That's why they went with the Chitauri.
Yeah. So lots of money made in Phase 1. Really fundamentally shifted the way that movies were made from that point forward. At 2011, 2012 when Avengers came out?
2012 for Avengers was the release.
By that point, movies were forever changed.
Yeah.
The idea and the gamble of the greater cinematic universe was played and worked out.
Phenomenally well.
Yes. The movies are going to be like this if not forever, at least this
for the foreseeable future.
Yeah, and at this point, that's when everybody else started seeing everybody else trying to kind of hop on this greater cinematic universe thing. DC definitely went at it and kind of floundered at it, and they're still trying to work at it right now. Universal tried to make theirs with their Universal Monsters Dark Universe.
Yeah,
that flopped real quick.
Really.
The X-Men universe kind of reinvented itself and started doing things within this kind of timeline, and I think it culminated with Logan, which I think is one.
Well, I don't know if so. Logan,
I feel like Logan
isn't actually like canon with the other movies. But it has the same actors, but it's like not the same timeline.
Yeah, but
they played with time so much in the Fox movies.
Yeah, the Fox doesn't care as much.
X-Men.
But I feel like the general kind of ethos of using the cinematic universe to give characterization to the characters within the universe is what Logan benefited from. Logan would not have been to be able to successful as a movie if it were not for the kind of concept that Marvel and Disney put forward with the cinematic universes and got away with. Right. And so because of that helped Logan have less baggage in its whole film in itself, and then be the story that it was able to tell.
That's one of the arguments you can make for the good thing of intertextual movie making. But we can get to that. Let's run through the rest of the numbers first.
So let's now run to phase 2.
What we can also say, phase 2 starts introducing more characters, and all the budget basements get higher.
Yes. So now movies are changed forever. Disney's moving on to the next step. Phase 2. Let's run through them. Iron Man 3, $200 million. Return $1.2 billion. Astronomical success. Holy shit! I didn't even really like the movie.
I don't even like that movie. Yeah.
Next one, Thor: Dark World.
Fucking hot dog shit of a film.
$272 million budget. Return $644 million.
So undeserved.
Yeah.
So undeserved.
Winter Soldier, Captain America: Winter Soldier, my personal favorite Marvel film. $170 million. Return $714 million.
See, I feel like people were so mad about the Dark World that less people went to see Winter Soldier. Fewer people.
I think it might have just been the spy thriller. I think it was a spy thriller, and
it wasn't marketed as one.
It was not.
It was marketed as a superhero movie.
And it kind of flipped the script on you, and I like that. And I'm a big fan of spy movies. I like spy thrillers. It pleased the shit out of me.
I can't think of any spy movie besides James Bond, and I only like a few of those.
I gotta make you watch. We'll do a spy movie day one day.
We'll do a spy movie day.
Next,
after we talk about Dumbo,
Guardians of the Galaxy, $232 million. Return $773 million.
See, I feel like that one is so.
That one's also in my top 5. Probably one of the best.
That's certainly in my top 5. I feel like that number, like the budget and the gross, are probably closer than some of the other ones are. Because I feel like that was another bigger risk. Even with all these successful movies behind them, Guardians is where they like actually do like, okay, we're gonna do new characters that nobody knows about.
Yeah,
just nobody, even the biggest comic diehards, you'd be still hard pressed to find someone who read Guardians.
Yeah, who the fuck? Like up until that point, who the fuck was a Rocket Raccoon?
Right.
Like
he was a video game character,
and he was only in the video game because he was going to be in the movie.
Right.
Yeah.
Was it a tie-in?
Yeah. Okay. Or like Marvel that he worked with them. Marvel worked out with Capcom at that. But yeah, excellent film. Helmed by James Gunn, who
great movie maker.
Great writer director, had a real vision and soul for the film, and it really paid off. Next, we have The Age of Ultron, their most expensive movie to this point, $495 million. Its return,
$500 million.
Yeah, $1.4 billion. Yeah,
still doubled its money.
Yeah, and then last one was Ant-Man at $169 million. Return $519. Probably the worst performing out of the bunch, ratio wise and money wise,
and just a bad movie too. Not all these movies are winners. That's the problem.
No, I don't think that. Here's the thing: they're not all winners, but none of them are losers.
That
I think is a big thing. Disney, up to this point, maybe Thor: The Dark World. I don't remember it so thoroughly. I can't have a proper opinion on it.
Shitty movie, but it was a financial success.
Yeah, but. Almost every single Disney Marvel movie has been a good, or at least a pretty good film. at least like something you don't regret watching.
I definitely regretted watching Thor: The Dark World.
I
think other people also regretted watching Age of Ultron.
Age of Ultron was really weird for me. I didn't like it as much, but it wasn't bad. It was just bad. It was not as good.
It was a bad movie.
Yeah. Well, whatever. Either way, total cost for Phase 2, $1.5 billion. Total return, $5.2 billion.
Jesus Christ.
And I understand. So they
spent a similar budget to what they did in Phase 1. Yeah. They just spread it out differently.
Yeah, and they got more out of it.
That's insane.
And I understand if anybody can't really comprehend the amount of dollars that this is. That's all right. We don't either. We will never
This
see
is operationally higher than some governments will fucking talk about.
Yes. So here we go. Phase 3.
And this is the phase that ends now with Endgame. Though technically with the next Spider-Man movie.
Yeah. The third act of what could be this 3-act structure of this huge Marvel Cinematic Universe.
Because that's what it is.
Yeah. Starts off with Civil War. $250 million budget. Return, $1.1 billion. Next, we got Doctor Strange. $236 million budget. Return, $677 million. Next, we got Guardians of the Galaxy 2. $200 million budget. Return, $863 million.
Yes, good. That's also my top 5. Both Guardians movies are my top 5.
Spider-Man Homecoming cost $175 million. Return, $880 million.
Damn. That might have been one of their biggest successes.
Yeah. Thor Ragnarok, $180 million. Return, $854 million.
That is my personal favorite Marvel movie.
Black Panther, which was a huge cultural moment in American culture, for black culture and for movie culture. $200 million budget. Return, $1.3 billion.
That is insane.
Yes.
That is insane.
Next, we got the Infinity Wars, which probably is
the tightest of the movies.
Yeah. It is
probably the best made technically of all of the movies.
Yeah, definitely. It is that is a near perfect film in my opinion.
I wouldn't say that. I would say it's still a bad movie.
We can have this discussion.
Yeah, we're going to.
Yeah. So $400 million. Return, $2 billion.
$2 billion.
$2 billion. $2 billion and 48
That would put you on the Forbes list.
Yes. Just that movie alone. It's crazy. Next, we got the Ant-Man and the Wasp.
We should fucking find out how much Robert Downey has made specifically.
Yeah. $195 million for Ant-Man and the Wasp. Return, $922 million.
That is a fucking... Thank you, New York. Yeah, that is how... I agree. That's a crock of shit. Ant-Man... I understand that Ant-Man was an OG Avenger. I get that. I respect that. Fine. Mm-hmm. Just we didn't have to have him have his own movies. We couldn't give the Hulk proper movies when it was Mark Ruffalo's turn, but we gave Paul Rudd the ability to be a superhero.
Well, the part of the reason why we couldn't give Hulk a proper movie as Mark Ruffalo is because I believe it was Universal still has claims to the rights of any solo Hulk film, and because of that, if they were to make a solo Hulk film, they would have to.
Now they own the rights.
Do they?
Fox owns Universal.
Oh my fucking god. Disney owns too much of the fucking industry. But we'll get to that a little later. And also, last two, we got... last one, actually. Captain Marvel with $175 million. Really? That's kind of cheap. Relatively. And its return, $1.1 billion. We've neither of us have seen that one, so we can't really have any proper opinion on it. But,
did you watch Ant-Man and the Wasp?
No, I didn't watch
Ant-Man. So we haven't seen those two.
Yeah. And then the last one, Endgame. Or not the last one. Yeah. Which is, as far as we know right now, $350 million budget, and I don't want to put out any numbers right now.
I think they cleared 500 in the opening weekend.
I think almost cleared $1 billion in the opening weekend. I don't know. You could check what it is right now. But overall, Phase 3 cost $2 billion and return $9.8 billion.
Holy shit.
What is it as of now, or as of what you're checking? What does your checking say?
The the first article here from Mashable says that in its opening weekend, based on the Sunday estimates, was $1.2 billion.
Jesus fucking Christ.
Now, can you just go back to what did the first Avengers movie make?
The first Avengers movie totaled, I don't know about the opening weekend, but it totaled out at 1.5 billion.
1.5 billion.
Yeah.
What did I just say? 1.3?
I think it said 1.2. Yeah.
1.2 billion in the first 3 days.
Ridiculous. It's insane.
It's insane.
Yeah, and totaling up.
This is Tuesday of the week following opening weekend. Yeah. So it is just going to continue fucking making money for at least 2 more weeks.
Yeah, I know there's plenty of people who didn't want to see it on opening weekend because it was just going to be flooded.
Yeah, we haven't seen it. Well, you saw it yesterday, 2 days ago.
3 days ago. I saw it Saturday. Whenever Saturday was, I saw it Saturday night.
And I'm seeing it right now. No, I'm seeing it this week. And so that's why next week we're going to come back with a discussion of Endgame.
Yeah, but overall, so let's finish it. Everything besides Endgame, $4.6 billion to create, returned $18.9 billion. Basically $19 billion. These movies are made. This is an astronomically absurd amount of money that these movies have made. The driving force of the economy behind these movies. I can't even imagine what else is involved in toys and licensing and cartoons and just all the rest of the Marvel universes at this point, how much all that's worth. But just to know that over the last 11 years, the Marvel Cinematic Universe has been worth, just in and of itself, $19 billion. Only in the theaters is insane. It is ridiculous. And this is it. This is Disney has changed forever the way that Marvel movies are going to be. Forever up until forever as far as we will know about movie culture, there will be the concept of the cinematic universe as a functional mechanism that has been proven both within the art form of the movies of the films themselves, but much more importantly within the business sense of the movies. These movies have made so much money.
So all right, yeah, these ones have, and I agree to you to a certain point. Like, it has definitely shown us that if you do it responsibly, if you do it with a lot of work and you put a lot of time in it, you take a lot of big risks and gambles, you can make a lot of money and you can make like a dynastic film universe. But I don't think that it has changed the game because no one else has done it. Like, we talk about it like it has done it, and we have seen DC try to also jump in on that way. It's like, oh, superhero movies are popular now and universes are popular now. We have a built-in one of those, the same way Marvel does. They are pretty bright and colorful and like pew pew pew, let's make ours the alternative to that, because that's what DC is like always seems to be, the alternative to Marvel. And
they're trying at it, and they haven't been doing great. Like
they've been getting better. I think
they've been getting better in some fronts. I would say I haven't seen the new Aquaman, but I heard that was pretty good, or at least entertaining. Wonder Woman people really liked a lot, and Shazam people really liked a lot.
I've heard nothing but praise about Shazam. I want to see it,
and I feel like it's because in that times they chose the right people. I mean, for the most part, the early DC stuff was kind of helmed by Zack Snyder, and
it was his vision, certainly.
Yeah, and I am not a very appreciative person of his movies. The only movie of his that I liked, that I only learned afterwards, was the remake of Dawn of the Dead, which was also written by James Gunn. It was written by James Gunn and then directed by Zack Snyder.
I haven't seen any of the Dawn of the Dead movies. Or the Day of the Dead. Any of it.
It was all right. It was a remake. It was mad, but it was entertaining enough to keep me there.
I liked 300. I liked Watchmen. I liked the comic better.
I liked the comic was too good for me to like them. I was insulted by Watchmen the movie.
Really?
Yeah.
Insulted?
I hated it. I remember watching it in theaters and hating so much of it. It was
I like to see the visualization of Rorschach. I liked the Dr. Manhattan stuff.
Yeah.
I liked
they're coming out with a series on HBO soon, so I'm actually going to check that out when it comes out.
I know that actually looks pretty good.
Yeah.
I don't know.
But I
don't think Zack Snyder is the worst, but I think he did go too dark as a response to Marvel's universe.
Yeah, and I think some issues that I remember people having with Justice League, which was kind of trying to be like their DC's big Avengers thing, even though they only had like 3 movies of lead up to it. that was...
It was their ensemble piece.
Yeah.
Even though they hadn't put all the pieces.
Yeah, they haven't put enough pieces out. And Zack Snyder did about like most of it, and then tragically, like his daughter died, I believe, and they kind of pulled himself out of the film. At which that point, they then brought in Joss Whedon, who did the first two Avengers.
It up a little bit.
Yeah, and it really kind of like changed it up, and in that kind of made it much more different, and a lot of people think kind of worse because of what they were originally working with. And it's just kind of it's been a lot of that, just kind of these like failures along the road in this kind of greater cinematic universe that DC wanted to make. And I mean, it's good to know that somebody like literally the best of the fucking best can make it work, but like the secondary guys are really fucking floundering still, and I don't know if anybody else is gonna get that cinematic universe off the ground.
I think I do think that DC's at least going in the right direction now with like Wonder Woman and Shazam. But that's it. Yeah, I don't think that this has changed the game. I don't think that this is going to be necessarily something that people can replicate. What I do think is that it introduced us to like new fucking sensations we weren't used to or had before. Like I think that we now have like fatigue of genre. Like that we've just seen 20 superhero movies from Marvel alone in the last 10 years.
Yeah.
So, like, I feel like culturally we're getting a little burnt out on superheroes.
I think so as well. And I'm very interested to see how Disney's going to approach that in the future. Because they must be aware. Like, I've always felt like Disney knows what they're doing. Like, I will always refer to them
as extension Marvel.
Yes. But it's Disney now. Everybody knows
we're talking about the Marvel cinematic. It's not the Disney cinematic universe.
Yeah, but it
is, but it's not.
Yeah. But they know, they have their finger on the pulse always. So I think they have to be aware of the fact that we might be getting some type of a cape shit fatigue.
We have
over
to
these years, and I'm definitely feeling
people didn't even want to go see The Incredibles 2.
Yeah, like I wanted to finally watch Endgame just to be over with it. I'm just glad to be done with the whole fucking thing. Like now we can worry about something else.
But it's not done because there's still movies to come.
Yeah, but at this point you don't have to continue. You don't have to work yourself up on the next one. We've had the cinematic events of a lifetime.
Right,
we can just detach ourselves from
on
the
that. No,
exactly.
But because of the money, because we've done that, now this is the intertextual thing. The whole reason that it was this beautiful cinematic event, this cultural phenomenon, is because every movie was made of like aggregate parts of other movies, like all the best of it, all the biggest blockbusters, where all the money went to, all the Avengers like tent poles. It was all relying on the viewer knowing and having seen like 6 or 7 other movies. Like you need to be familiar with the canon. Like there used to be comic book nerds. Now you have to be kind of like a cinephile, but for Marvel movies.
Yeah.
And think about it, if you're the average moviegoer, and there's 20 movies, and you've seen all of them, and say an average ticket price is $10, just split it between
$10.
In the city, it's much more, but I'm sure then fucking Indiana, it's nothing. So they just split the difference in America. Say it's $10 as a generous estimate.
All right,
that's $200 that your average Marvel fan has given to Disney just to see every movie in theaters.
Yeah, that's. It's a lot, and
it's a lot of money for just to watch, movies.
Yeah, but if anything, Disney is excellent in figuring out ways how to escape the dollars from your wallet into theirs. And I mean, the money doesn't fucking lie. Baby. Yeah, I mean, but they're fucking so good at it. Is
that some capitalism?
A little bit of capitalism. I got a vinyl up there that went along with it.
Yeah, we got some capitalism on the desk. How do you feel about capitalism, Cat? That is why they call it capitalism.
Beautiful.
Thank you. Here we go.
Beautiful. This man, he speaks so much wisdom. Truly the icon of our nation.
Yeah. God bless.
But yeah, I mean, I guess so. And so,
but that's why I think that with all that intertextual stuff, that's why I think that with all the movies that are going to come, yeah, you say that you don't have to sign up for them, you don't have to keep going. That's true. If you want to check out of the MCU, now is probably going to be the time to do it because contracts are up. There are people who are not returning. If you keep going forward, inevitably the next movies that come are going to link together into some other big fucking cinematic crossover because that's what they're going to keep doing. Because that's the formula that works. I don't see any significant change coming for them.
But I guess not. But I guess
they might do like Secret War next.
My big question is
they have the scrolls now.
Is can they redo it? Can they is it one, will they redo it? Like, are they even going to try the same thing for this second life, or a sequel to the Marvel Cinematic Universe, whatever they're going to call it in the end? Or are they going to try to have a whole different idea? Like, how much further can you go from Thanos? How much further can you go from
You can go lots of those. There's lots of other comic book lines.
Yeah, but half the universe being destroyed because crystals that can control whatever were able to do that, like.
Well, I mean,
I don't know.
We don't know what happens in Endgame. I'm presuming that they're going to do some kind of reset. Mm-hmm. Like, I just imagine, like, this is what comic books do. Like, nobody's dead forever. Mm-hmm. Like, there's some people who are going to leave. There's some people who are going to stay. And otherwise, I feel like the stakes of the last movie are going to be largely undone. Yeah, probably through the sacrifice of some hero.
But here's the thing: like even you can't go. I find it difficult to go further than these items. Like, you can do whatever you want, and the last movie ended with the most drastic thing possible that you could do to all life. Literally, just literally cut it in half, and then that's it. Like how much more of a threat can there be than that? And will they be able to find a new threat, or are they gonna just give up the whole concept of trying to have this huge, massive, literally universal size threat to something different?
I feel like you can definitely find other galactic size or universal size threats, because that's just eliminating half the universe. That's pretty drastic, but it's also pretty, like, equivalent. Like, you could take something similar, but just do racism or sexism, or like make it colorful, killing half the universe.
I mean, I guess.
But it could also just be like this. There's a million comic book stories that you can adapt. They haven't exhausted them yet.
Yeah, I guess.
They're Adam Warlock is a name that they introduced at the ends of Guardians 2 that I don't think that they paid off, and I'm not sure they're gonna pay off at Endgame. I hope they do, and if they don't, they're still setting up for stuff in the future with like huge, massive dynastic characters. And with the acquisition of Fox, they can do X-Men and Fantastic Four.
I guess, yeah. And I'm interested to see how those are going to get integrated. Like, I feel like with the next X-Men movie, The Dark Phoenix, I think it's going to be another timeline reset where they just clears the slate.
That would be great, because then they can bring it back into the universe.
Yeah.
And also, like, they did the Skrulls in Captain Marvel, so now they can do stuff like Secret War and like bring in the Fantastic Four, maybe to do shit like that.
Yeah,
I don't know. They still have a lot of options. That's what I'm saying. But I feel like whatever they do, it's going to also be something that builds and builds and builds into another big intertextual thing that you need to have seen all these other aggregate movies for.
Well, I don't know. I'm not excited to see the movies, but I'm excited to see the plays that Disney makes. Because it's Disney, everybody. Disney owns everything that you love. All of it, everything, is owned by Disney. Mr. Mouse Ears over here. He owns your childhood and owns your love for the price of the dollars in your wallet and the attention of your self.
It's a Mickey Mouse.
But yeah, so
I was raised in the house of mouse.
Yeah, we can get away from my Disney fear mongering.
Yeah,
and move towards something else.
Propagandizing outwardly.
Do you have anything else that you wanted to talk about? Because we can always go to the favorite movie and favorite scene and kind of talk about that and just kind of close up our thoughts on this universe.
Well, I want to talk about a little bit first is everything that these movies have built into as of now. I think Infinity War was very much the tightest one.
It was excellent.
And I think it was probably, to me, if Endgame is garbage, or even if it's just not great, Infinity War was such a tight film that I think it was like pinnacle movie making, not only just for like movies in general in terms of like tying storylines together, but it's also about just in terms of how they tied like a decade of stories together.
Yeah, I thought it was very impressive. Like, the Infinity War as a film should be studied. You're right there.
I'm trying to just tighten it.
Like, it is so fucking tight. Like, that film, there is not a moment wasted in that film, and that is impressive. It is impressive to have a film that is so lean but still so enjoyable and covers all the plots like it needs to be, like Infinity Wars. And it might have had the benefit of being essentially like the first half of a two movie kind of event, and I personally think I can't really base this off of anything, but I think it kind of forgoes the basic 3-act structure, and I think it might go for a 5-act structure.
It is. Well, it's also, but it's not even, I'm not sure if you would call it like an act structure. It's like episodes.
Yeah,
because you're following like the stories of 5 different parts.
You're following a lot of different storylines, and what I was always so impressed with the film is
it's just like plot events.
Yeah, but they're all it's all plot events kind of culminating to a central plot point.
But that's what I'm saying. I wouldn't even call it acts. Like, there's no acts. It's just episodes of things all happening at the same time, and like a desperate, mad.
But even then,
war.
Like, the pacing in it and the way the characters were spread out and how the dialogue worked out and how the action sequences were placed within the film, it was just, the film had my attention at all times, and that is particularly impressive. Like, my attention span is famously low, so if you can kind of keep me glued to whatever's happening, that's a very impressive feat. And there was very little time for you to have wandering thoughts about what else is happening in the film.
Yeah, because it kept jumping back and forth in good increments and in good timing, and it was just strong. Every scene was strong. Like, you wanted to know what was happening or everywhere, so you like kind of sort of waiting in sequence to see it all. And it was all visually arresting too. Like, it was a very good looking movie. It
was very well done, and the I would say if anything, only the some of the CGI minions, or like the underlings,
like the
of
crawlies,
Thanos.
whatever.
No, the creepy crawly things, those were fine because they were moving too fast, so you couldn't really see them. But more of the specifically the girl warrior got a person from Thanos, and then whoever her partner was. I think he was like a thief-looking dude.
Yeah,
they look like fucking PlayStation 2 characters. Like, it was so unsettling. Like, Squidward looked excellent in fucking Infinity Wars. The guy he was with, that was a big hulky dude, he was pretty cool. He moved fast enough that he didn't really catch his details. Thanos, excellent. Holy shit.
Thanos looked great.
The animators, I don't know how many fucking animators Disney ground up into their Disney mill to make this Thanos work the way he did, but god damn it, those lives were worth it.
Jesus Christ.
Like,
Thanos looked great.
It was incredible.
I think that the thief looking dude with like the weird scythe, I think he looked good too. And I think the girl looked good, but some of her movements were a little janky.
Yeah.
And her face was like,
her face was
weird.
Janky.
It was like, yeah.
And like you got a little too much of it in frame sometimes.
It did like a close up on it when Cap showed up for the first time.
Yeah, but on the other end, the Squidward psycho guy, or the psychonaut
I thought he
guy,
looked like a PlayStation character.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh,
he looked like a bad Psychonauts boss.
To me, he looked. I mean, he might have been designed.
He looks like
weird.
a fan video from Star Wars.
He like, in terms of like detail, he looked pretty good in my opinion.
He just looked like wrinkly. Like, if you call that detail, I suppose.
I mean, that's to me.
It is detail, but it's. I like the big dude. I think he looked cool. I like his design. But Thanos was so, like, I was like, I bought it. Like, when he was beating Hulk's ass, I was like, of course he is. Look at him. Like, look at this. First of all, the size of him, and like just the fucking raw competence in that man.
Yeah,
that beast, that Titan.
Yeah, and I particularly enjoyed how so Hulk is like just a fucking Hulk of just energy. He just kind of smashes you. But the Thanos, when he comes out, like, he fucking dodges the Hulk and then just beats him up like fucking precise punches,
boxes him.
He's like
hit,
fuck out. Dodge, hit, dodge, fucking meet him in the face, and Hulk was fucking downed.
Yeah,
like,
because the Hulk's not a fighter. The Hulk is just smash.
Yeah, and I don't know. Thanos in Infinity Wars is excellent.
Like, I hope that Hulk like gets the chance to beat the shit out of Thanos in the second in this one. I don't know.
I'm excited. I want to see what do you think. I'm excited. Well, hopefully next week we'll return with spoiler talk.
Yeah.
So we can actually discuss Endgame.
Also, spoiler alert for this video. We're spoiling like everything.
Yeah.
From like Infinity War back.
Yeah. So I mean, I would hope you know that. Well, you know.
Hey, and some people still get sensitive about the Sixth Sense, right?
Oh man,
that movie was made in 1999.
Speaking of which, M. Night Shyamalan's Glass came out, and it wasn't that bad.
That's another extended universe.
Yes, actually,
that's the Shyamalaniverse.
That was the one.
Exactly.
I remember. I was so excited for that. Let's touch on this real quick. So, get back to the cinematic universes. The M. Night Shyamalan extended cinematic universe.
Yeah, does it include Lady in the Water?
I don't know, but I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah.
So far, what we have confirmed is Unbreakable,
Split and Glass, and Unbreakable.
Yeah, those are all in the same universe. And in my opinion, I really liked Glass. It wasn't a great movie, but it only cost $30 million, and it was very enjoyable, and it was some pretty good filmmaking in it, honestly.
But I heard that all the characters suck.
They don't suck, but they're like super hammy. Here's the thing. I thought...
and this includes the characters that were established in previous films.
Yeah. I think Glass would have been excellent on Netflix. Like, just toss it straight on a streaming service.
As opposed to releasing it in theaters?
Yeah. Like, I think, like, it's kind of equivalent quality of, like, Bird Box. Like
you don't need to watch it on a big screen.
Yeah, you don't really need to watch it on a big screen. It's some good filmmaking, but it's not like fucking stunning visuals. Like the action sequences are relatively fun. Has these kind of characters where if you want to like get into like what these characters are later, you can go check back the other movies on the streaming service. I think M. Night Shyamalan should just be making Netflix movies at this point. Like, he would do very well because his movies are kind of pulpy and kind of, you know, hammy and campy.
Bad.
I mean, you call it bad, but, you know,
I think
there's some aspects of it.
Bad.
I really like James McAvoy's, but it's misguided.
Yeah, James McAvoy is good. I'll give him that, but the movie is bad. It's just like, I feel like the shots are bad, and then for it to just go, the ending of Split being, he's an actual monster.
I loved it. I adored that twist so much because it was the twist on the M. Night Shyamalan twist.
How? That's the Shyamalan twist right there. No, he's a monster.
Well, because the whole movie they're building up to him being this monster, and this monster's actually there. So usually when you think that's gonna come, it's just be like, oh, M. Night Shyamalan's gonna like twist it. It's like, really, he's just like a fucking crazy guy, and the monster's just like a particular.
Well, the whole movie they're
him.
Also like doing a lot to convince you that he's just a crazy guy who thinks he's a monster. And still, he like shadowing monstrous shit.
Yeah, and then when it's monster time, he's actually a fucking monster.
He's actually a monster. He's a demon. He's like he crawls on the ceiling.
He's bulletproof.
Yeah, he's bulletproof. Yeah, he's super strength.
Yeah,
he has super strength.
He becomes larger and more muscular, and then turns red, and then can climb stone wall.
Yeah,
why? I don't know. The movie doesn't leave enough time to explain it. It ends in 5 more minutes.
Right, and then if that isn't enough to completely infuriate you, the reason that he doesn't kill main girl while after chasing her down is because when he finally comes across her, she's like, I think her like lower legs are exposed, or her thighs or something. She has scars, and he sees her scars and he's like, "You're broken too."
Yeah, and
you get to live.
Yeah, it was weird, and
that's it. That's it. He leaves.
Yeah, and honestly, that would be kind of all right on Netflix.
It's a terrible message.
M. Night Shyamalan's a
Your
fucking...
traumas make you valuable.
M. Night Shyamalan's a weird, misguided filmmaker, but it doesn't mean he's a bad filmmaker, in my opinion. I stand for fucking... I don't stand for him, but every time M. Night Shyamalan comes out with a movie, I'm excited to see what it is.
I'm not.
I want to see what this man... Honestly, I enjoyed Glass. Glass had some good filmmaking in it.
I'll watch it on my computer, where that's an appropriate place to watch it.
Yeah, exactly. Like, it's like not a super high-impact film.
But this is not the Marvel Cinematic Universe, right?
But it's kind of...
Okay, yeah, there's too many universes.
Yeah.
It's all Marvel's fault.
Yes.
What I would like to see is a major crossover event between DC and Marvel. Just bury the hatchet. Put all your money together. Do it for the consumer. Become one mega corporation. Just Disney. Buy them. Buy DC. Buy Warner Brothers. Would that be too much of a monopoly at that point?
I think the SEC might step in at that point and be like,
buy the SEC.
You can't. Was it the SEC or the FCC? Whoever's the people that stop monopolies.
They have more money than God.
I mean, they do.
The Holy Trinity is now 3 black circles.
Over the last 11 years, they've at 19 billion dollars, and we got another 1 billion coming along from just this weekend in Avengers Endgame. These motherfuckers can do whatever they want.
Yeah.
It's insane.
And then they can
be afraid of this much power, please.
Can you just imagine how remarkable it feels like to be Robert Downey Jr.? Like, even if he's exhausted of making these movies by this stage, and I'm sure he is. He's
many millionaires.
Never needs to work again. Ever. He could spend the rest of his life just being a coke addict again.
He could afford that.
Yeah. He has probably more money than God. What is he worth?
I don't know. I'm gonna say it's at 450 million.
Did we abandon all structure in this podcast?
We kind of did.
Okay.
But yeah, you can bet. You can do that. I'll go into my favorite things.
We'll fix it in post.
But I'm gonna bet right now $450 million is Robert Downey Jr.'s net worth.
You're saying 450 million?
Yes.
I think that's way too low.
I don't know. Google.
Oh wow. Yeah, never mind.
What is it?
300 million.
300 million. Oh, okay.
I thought it would be higher.
Yeah, I thought it would be higher too. But
still a lot of money.
To get back on the nice side of things, I'll go through my favorite movie and my favorite scene.
All right.
So my favorite movie, once again, is the Captain America: The Winter Soldier. I particularly like it because I think it is a very well put together spy thriller, and I was not expecting Disney and Marvel to come out with one of the most compelling spy thrillers of the decade. There really hasn't been much in the terms of spy thrillers in the 2010s or the 20-teens, whatever the hell we call this decade.
Right.
And not only was it a competent spy movie, but it was well choreographed in all its action. It took the kind of scale that these characters are at, using Captain America, who relatively is not the strongest Avenger. He's much more about his ideology and who he is that brings him into the forefront. But he's just, outside of that, he's just durable and strong.
He's still pretty goddamn strong.
Yeah, and they use that into that kind of took a big part of how the action sequences went in the film. Since he can't do like astronomical damage, he's really still only a just very strong, durable man. He had a lot of one-on-one fights with Bucky as the Winter Soldier. There were a lot of action sequences where he got kind of attacked by multiple dudes, like with guns.
He held a helicopter to a building.
Yeah,
I think he like broke his arm during the filming of that scene too. And
then my favorite scene, which is the elevator fight scene, where he's leaving S.H.I.E.L.D. and he's starting to pick up that everybody is against him now, and they're part of Hydra. And he gets in the elevator, and more people start piling the elevator. People he knows that work with him at S.H.I.E.L.D. that are the fucking beat up guys. Like these are the guys that they send to go get shit done by force. And there's like 6 of them or like 8 of them in the elevator with him. And then he kind of picks up they're there to like fucking put him out and take him down.
Right.
And then he just kind of announces it and then just starts the fight, and it is incredibly choreographed in a very small quarters,
and it's like a long glass elevator, right?
Yeah,
you can like see through the window.
Yeah, so you can see through the window. Hold on. Oh no, we have an issue. But what are you doing? No? Yes? Okay, camera issues, whatever, sure, whatever, fine, yeah, fuck me, right? Technology, whatever,
God, it's all right.
But yeah, as I was saying, excellently choreographed, excellent tension that was built. I think that scene is like maybe
it was palpable when the guys got in the elevator. He was just like,
yeah, you can cut the tension in that scene with a goddamn knife.
Yeah,
and then it pays off so well.
It's
favorite scene of the favorite movie.
It's a solid movie.
Yeah,
I don't dislike it. I'm not a huge spy movie guy, but I didn't really like it when I first watched it. I wouldn't go out of my way to put that one on. I would say my favorite movie has to be Thor Ragnarok, because I think that Taika Waititi just made a fantastic movie. It's also like a great Hulk movie and Thor movie.
Yeah, I appreciated Hulk so much more after that.
100%. And also Mark Ruffalo, like as Bruce Banner, because it was just and Tessa Thompson, man, god damn, that movie was fucking stacked. It was great. Jeff Goldblum. All of it was so good.
I'm so glad that they hired Jeff Goldblum to be Jeff Goldblum on screen.
Yeah,
it was great.
He probably wore his own wardrobe too.
all the face makeup, that was just him.
Yeah,
he's like, I got some shit to do after this. Like, can I just run this?
Yeah, is this good? Does this work for you? My favorite scene. Like, I don't really think about scenes as much generally, but I would say that I would think like the first scene where Iron Man is like testing out the suit design, like the flight cables and stuff like that, and you see it all like from like test camera footage.
Yeah, that's really good scene.
Yeah, because it's early on. And I loved Iron Man. That's one of my favorite movies. I love Iron Man as a character. I love Tony Stark. He's an alcoholic. I'm an alcoholic. I'm not rich, but I'm working on it, kind of. But I think that like that just shows like a great sense for what the whole universe was going to be like. It was going to be, you know, heart and action and stakes and a lot of stuff that we've already seen at that point in the movie. But there's also going to be like a core of humor. It's not going to forget that it's still like a comic book movie. There's still like some dumb shit that you're going to indulge in when you make and watch these films. I think it's important that it doesn't lose sight of that. I know that people have criticized some of the movies from being too indulgent in humor. Like Thor Ragnarok is definitely one of the funnier movies in the universe, and I think people have come at it for being a little bit less genuine for that. I wouldn't agree, but I do see the argument. I just think that the fact that it doesn't like forget that it's a comic book, it's kind of hammy to start with. You got to lean into that a little bit.
Well, I think like so. I was like about to say that Iron Man felt like it was a movie that was made almost a little bit sarcastically, like a little bit. And like that kind of shows in like specifically the way that the Tony Stark is as a character, and it kind of fits the way that he is and kind of how indignant he is.
Right.
However, Thor Ragnarok, I think, is like the opposite. Like
it's so sincere.
Yeah, like it's absurd and it's ridiculous.
And it's a love letter to the comic books.
Yeah,
with like the design of everything.
Yeah, and it feels like Taika Waititi and Chris Hemsworth and Mark Ruffalo and everybody and Tessa Thompson, everybody that was on that, they kind of really got a good sense of like what the mood was of that movie, and they did it so well. And it's like it started introducing Chris Hemsworth as a comedic element into the Avengers movies, which, as we've said, like he's really starting to show in his comedic chops, and he's starting to get pulled into other movies because of that. And I'm really glad about that. It finally opened up Hulk. Hulk is such a weird fucking character to deal with.
Yeah.
Because he's the Hulk. Like it's smart guy Bruce Banner and then a smash guy Hulk, and they're just in the same body, and they have those issues. But what else can he really do with it?
Right. Like you can't really explore that character too deeply. It's two binary positions.
Yeah. And then
they opened it up. Like they showed the humanity in the Smash Beast, and like, you know, the strength of the frail human. He threw himself onto the bridge and like just collapsed there.
And it was great.
Yeah,
it was definitely probably like top 5 Marvel movie.
Hulk, for once in your life, don't smash. Such quality. And also, the only thing that I didn't like about Ragnarok is that what's her face, whoever played the villain, I can't remember.
I forget who she is.
You know, really good actress. She had like nothing to do the whole movie. Because it was like a travel movie. It was like him and the Hulk in a different place. So she had like no one to play off of except that guy who was in fucking Riddick.
I will say that
Mark
even
Cuban.
having nobody to play off of, she hammed it the fuck up properly.
She had fun. I think.
Like she was like, as the solo fucking camera, like the solo frame force that she was.
Yeah.
Oh, she was great for the film. And she went along with the whole rest of the film as well, because she was like comically evil, and Jeff Goldblum was also comically evil, and just like this ridiculous levels of evil that, you know, in the more human setting wouldn't make sense.
She was the goddess of death.
Yeah, but you know, in this movie, you know, fuck it, whatever. Asgard.
Right. But Asgard's a people.
Yeah.
And then fucking Infinity War opens with Asgard being like half eliminated.
Yeah.
Brutal. That's why Endgame's gonna be brutal.
No, I'm excited.
I'm excited that I'm seeing it right now. I can visualize it in my head. What?
But you know, I think it's. I hope we have had a good time putting some new Avengers, you know, thoughts into your heads now that everything's coming to a close. I'm glad, you know, we're the only people really even talking about Marvel right now. It's really weird.
It's insane.
I can't believe nobody's doing this.
I mean, I know all we did was really give you a rundown of the prices and then just loose thoughts about universes.
But you know, what's important is the money.
Yeah,
always.
We're being sponsored by Mickey Mouse.
Yeah,
Mickey Mouse.
I know you hate us, Disney, but you know, or you dislike me, but I know you also also like to buy your dissent. So
I was raised in the house of mouse.
why don't you buy some dissent?
I worship at the foot of your altar, Mickey. Bless me.
But anyway, we should cut it off here. I've been Leo.
I've been Vin.
And thank you for joining us for some Marvel talk.
Yeah, join us next week for some more tangible, focused discussion about Endgame.
Yeah.
And then like a tighter summation of what this saga is like, and maybe some, outlandish projections for what comes next.
Yeah, I bet that Deadpool is going to beat up both Josh Brolin Thanos and Cable Thanos at the same time.
That would be so dope.
Yeah, it's gonna be
That'd be so dope.
It's gonna be so weird.
I would love that.
There's gonna be a lot of Josh Brolin in your
Ryan Reynolds, are you paying attention?
Please do this.
To this random
you're coming off of Pikachu, right? You got to be Pikachu. Like, you can do anything at this point, man.
Yeah, right? Yo, come on.
Yeah. All right. But
bridge the Japanese Disney, that is Nintendo, with the American Disney, that is Disney, and make them one giant Disney.
And then
Disney Tendo.
Then
Distendo?
One company will just own
Nizd?
everything that I love dear. Everything that this capitalist society has made me love.
Just make everything into the same thing and just give it to me in one form.
Yeah.
And hopefully a suppository.
Yeah, just don't even take the money out of my wallet anymore. Like, don't
just pay me with
paycheck.
nostalgia.
Just go straight to Disney, please. I want you give the money to Disney. Disney gives me a feed of Disney into my eyeballs.
Why does this Mickey Mouse hat have a tuxedo, by the way?
It was a romantic related thing from some years ago.
This was romantic.
Yeah.
You received this, or you gave this?
I got another one that had a bridal dress. It was very dumb. I was young and dumb and in love. Don't do that.
Don't engage in romantic affection.
Anyway, goodbye, everybody.
Goodbye, good night. Go give Disney some more of your money.
Yeah, they're gonna get it one way or another. Bye.